When the goats in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 PM IST, 1 PM GMT.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
From New York, we get you to the sandy shores of Durban, where I'll bring you all the glitz, glam, and happenings from the world of showbiz.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
Good morning, Asia, and good morning, America. I'm Isha Hanspal, and this is World DNA.
And I'm Aditi Singh, and on the show today, we will bring you the latest on terror group Islamic State claiming responsibility of the twin blast in Iran that killed at least 84 people on the 4th death anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani on Wednesday.
And amidst the rising escalation in West Asia, United States continues its diplomatic efforts as Blinken is heading for his week-long trip. We bring you all this and more in the next hour. But first, let's take a quick look at the headlines.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading to West Asia as fears mount that Israel's war in Gaza will spread across the region following deadly blasts in Iran and the killing of a Hamas leader in Lebanon.
A U.S. strike in Baghdad killed a pro-Iran military commander, with Al-Hashed al-Shabi, ex-paramilitary, saying it hit one of their headquarters.
U.S. says that North Korea provided Russia with ballistic missile and missile launchers that were used in recent attacks on Ukraine in a major escalation of support for Moscow.
The death toll from a devastating earthquake in central Japan rose to 92, with the number of missing jumping to 242.
And the Indian government is all set to release the advance estimates of GDP growth. Now, the GDP is expected to expand by 7% in the current fiscal, and experts also believe that India will continue to be a growth engine.
Well, the top story that we are tracking today is from the US. The US is continuing its diplomatic efforts to soothe escalating tensions in West Asia.
And US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has embarked on his fourth crisis visit to the region, while US diplomatic envoy Amos Hochstein has met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And Blinken is heading for a week-long trip, and apart from Israel, he will visit West Bank as well as Jordan, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and Egypt. He will also make stops in Turkey and Greece. And US top officials have frequently made such trips since the war between Israel and Hamas broke out. However, this time the conflict has expanded beyond borders. And Blinken now travels with concerns of a regional escalation in the spotlight.
He will focus on, as he has consistently since October 7th, preventing the conflict from expanding. He will discuss specific steps parties can take, including how they can use their influence with others in the region to avoid escalation. It is in no one's interest, not Israel's, not the region's, not the world's, for this conflict to spread beyond Gaza.
Now, the visit comes on the heels of the US's retaliatory strike in Baghdad that killed a leader of an Iran-backed militia. It blames for recent attacks on US personnel. Now, the conflict has also crept into vital Red Sea shipping lanes, where Yemen's Houthi rebels have attacked multiple commercial ships, while the fight has grown with Hezbollah after a drone strike on Tuesday killed Hamas's deputy leader Saleh al-Aruri in Beirut. Now, Israel has not claimed responsibility of the strike. US Special Envoy, the regional Amos Hochstein, urged Israeli leaders to restore calm on borders with Lebanon. He said that the United States does not want to see conflict in Gaza escalating and expanding into Lebanon. A peace at the border should be an utmost priority.
Now, terror group Islamic State has claimed the responsibility of the twin blasts in Iran that killed at least 84 people.
Now, the explosions hit the procession marking the 4th death anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani on Wednesday. Now, the Islamic State claimed the responsibility through a statement on Telegram. It said 2 of its members carried out the suicide bombings by activating their explosive vests among the crowds who had come to honor Soleimani. However, the group did not reveal which regional organization of the terror outfit carried out the attack.
Islamic State is composed of local affiliates across the world, and Iran's interior minister has said that the country is bolstering security over its porous borders with Afghanistan and Pakistan, where Islamic State, Khorasan, is active. Now, US has also expressed concerns that the regional branch continue to pose threats and challenges.
I would just say what we said before, which is ISIS-K does remain a viable terrorist threat. Certainly, they are largely based out of Afghanistan. That's where they headquarter themselves, and they continue to pose a viable terrorist threat to the people of Afghanistan and obviously to the region.
Iran has long battled the Islamic State, which has claimed multiple attacks in the nation. However, the latest marked the deadliest attack since Iran's Islamic Revolution in 1979. The terror group once held vast territory across Iraq and Syria in a self-described caliphate it declared in 2014. However, it was ultimately beaten by US-led forces. Today, the group has been reduced to pockets. However, fear of its resurgence remains.
Now, slain Iranian General Qasem Soleimani was the face of Iran's fight against ISIS, and formerly one of Iran's most powerful men. Soleimani was killed by a US airstrike which was ordered by former President Donald Trump at Baghdad International Airport in 2020. And Iran has blamed the United States and Israel for the twin explosions, but US has rejected Iran's claim for its ally Israel's involvement in this attack.
Families enduring the unimaginable grief of losing a loved one. Apparently, there were somewhere in the order of 9 people shot and several.
Now, Aditi, a pro-Iran military commander has been killed in a US strike. The drone strike was confirmed by the Pentagon.
And while Baghdad has called it a blatant aggression, an Iraqi security official had reported 2 fatalities and 7 injuries in this drone strike. Iran's ex-paramilitaries say that the strike hit one of their headquarters, and Pentagon defended the strike, stating that it was self-defense against a commander actively planning attacks on the US personnel.
And finally, I can confirm that on January 4 at approximately 12 p.m. Iraq time, U.S. forces took necessary and proportionate action against Mushtaq Jawad Kazim al-Jawari, a.k.a. Abu Taqwa, who is a Harakat al-Najuba leader. Abu Taqwa was actively involved in planning and carrying out attacks against American personnel. The strike also killed another Han member. It is important to note that the strike was taken in self-defense, that no civilians were harmed, and that no infrastructure or facilities were struck.
Now, this strike follows a series of attacks on United States' forces in Iraq and neighboring Syria since the beginning of the Gaza conflict. Washington has reported over 100 incidents since mid-October, usually with a mix of rockets and one-way attack drones. Many of these were claimed by the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, an alliance of Iran-linked armed groups opposing U.S. support for Israel.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration, it continues to emphasize that Iraq's importance as a partner. Pentagon says that U.S. forces are there at the invitation of the Iraqi government to help train and advise them as part of the anti-ISIS mission. And now we have some news coming in from the U.S. state of Iowa, where a tragic incident unfolded at Perry High School on Thursday.
Well, a 17-year-old armed with a handgun and a shotgun claimed the life of a fellow student and left 5 others injured. Now, the suspect was found dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
And at around 7:30 a.m. local time, chaos erupted as at the Perry High School, an armed teenager went on a shooting spree, which led to a major police response, and emergency vehicles and armed units were rushed to the school, where classes had not yet started for the day. Now, the victim, who tragically lost his life was in 6th grade and aged 11 or 12, but the motive of the attack is still under investigation.
Officers immediately attempted to locate the source of the threat and quickly found what appeared to be the shooter with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. As additional officers responded, a systematic search of the school took place. Officers located during the search of the school an improvised explosive device. The state fire marshal and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms rendered the device safe.
Now, a total of 5 people were injured during the incident, including 4 children and a school administrator. Authorities also found an improvised explosive device within the school premises. The school district has now announced that classes on Friday would be cancelled and counselling services will also be made available for affected students. Now, this marks the 2nd school shooting this year, contributing to a total of 182 recorded since 2018. The prevalence of gun violence in the United States continues to pose a complex challenge, with political resistance hindering efforts to address this pervasive issue.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Take a look.
A small community of about 8,000 people are left to grapple with the aftermath of that school shooting in Perry, Iowa on Thursday, where a 17-year-old student shot and killed a middle school student, injuring 5 others before dying from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. In early January of 2023, a similar incident happened in Des Moines, Iowa, where an 18-year-old student shot and killed 2 other students. And then in 2022, also in Des Moines, a shooting outside of East High School killed 1 teenager while injuring 2 others. Iowa has invested heavily in school safety, including $100 million in federal funding. Back in 2021, Iowa eased gun control laws, allowing people to purchase guns without a permit, that being handguns. Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy was in Perry, Iowa on Thursday when the shooting happened. He canceled his campaign event, however, held an event for prayer and conversation. Instead, Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Now, the development of Africa and the dangers posed by AI will be the two key themes for Italy during its one-year presidency of the G7 countries.
And addressing a news conference, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni outlined challenges that were posed by artificial intelligence to the workforce. And she also mentioned that Italy continues its support for Ukraine, warning that further escalation of the conflict in West Asia could have unimaginable consequences.
Credo che questo sia fondamentale, così come credo che sia fondamentale.
First, let's destroy Hamas, and then we will talk about it. Because one of the best ways of calling the bluff of Hamas, which has no interest in the Palestinian cause, is to seriously work on the structural solution to the Palestinian question.
Che uno degli strumenti più efficaci.
On African development, Meloni said it was vital to boost local economies and living standards to dissuade would-be migrants from heading to Europe. Africa's development will be Italy's central theme for G7.
Differentemente da quello che sostiene chi dice che non dovremmo mandare armi all'Ucraina.
What I think needs to be done in Africa is not charity. What needs to be done in Africa is to build cooperation and serious strategic relationships as equals, not predators. What needs to be done in Africa is to defend the right, not to have immigrate before the right to be able to immigrate. And this is done with investments and a strategy.
Proposto da chi dice che non dobbiamo.
Now, Italy took over the rotating presidency of G7 this January, and G7 nations apart from Italy include the United States, Canada, Japan, Germany, France and Britain. Now, this year, Italy will host numerous ministerial meetings throughout the year, including a leaders' summit in June. However, Meloni emphasized that she wants to hold a special session before June that will focus only on artificial intelligence. Now shifting focus to the United Kingdom. Now UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Thursday indicated that Britain could go to polls in the second half of 2024.
That's right. In fact, Sunak's statement comes amid mounting speculation regarding the date of the next general elections in the United Kingdom.
And Sunak's Conservative Party has been in power since 2010 and it has till the end of January 2025 to call for the general elections. And after becoming Tory party leader in an internal party vote back in 2022, Sunak had said that he will try to secure his own mandate and will not leave till the last minute.
Yes. So look, my working assumption is we'll have a general election in the second half of this year. And in the meantime, I've got lots that I want to get on with.
Now, over the last 14 years, the Tories had 5 leaders and prime ministers. However, this time the party is expected to lose the elections, with opinion polls showing voters increasingly preferring Keir Starmer's main opposition Labour Party. Now, the Conservative stint in power has been marked by economic troubles, right from the fallout from the 2008 US subprime crisis to lately a cost of living crisis fueled by high inflation and energy prices.
And the last general election was won by then Tory leader Boris Johnson in December 2019.
Now, hundreds of flood warnings were in place in the United Kingdom. Parts of Britain battered by Storm Henk have been warned to brace themselves for yet more downpours that could trigger another phase of flooding, travel disruption and power cuts.
And a man in his 50s was killed when a tree fell on his car during the storms near the location. And while an 87-year-old woman died after car crashes into a fallen tree during Storm Hank in Oxfordshire, and the Environment Agency said that it had issued 94 flood warnings.
Several residents had to be evacuated from houseboats and caravans on the river Nene near Northampton because of rising waters. 8 flood warnings and 32 flood alerts were in force in Wales, as well as severe flood warnings indicating a danger to life.
And according to the Energy Networks Association, an industry body of gas and electricity supplies, some 10,000 customers were without power. Now, National Highways said that several main routes were closed because of this flooding, and there is rain forecast in several regions throughout the day.
Now, train companies also warned passengers that services would be disrupted as high winds had brought down trees onto railway lines. National Rail weather also affected the weather conditions over there.
Now let's shift focus to India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to address a diaspora event in Abu Dhabi on February 13th, and this mega event is called Ahlan Modi, which means welcome Modi in Arabic.
Now, the details of this mega event have been shared by the organizers, who say that it is poised to be one of the largest gatherings of the Indian diaspora in the region, with an estimated 50,000 attendees. Now, this event comes just ahead of the inauguration of the BAP's Hindu Mandir on February 14th, where Prime Minister Modi will take part in the ceremony. Now, since 2014, Prime Minister Modi has made 6 visits to the UAE, the most recent being in December for the Dubai Climate Change Summit.
And over the past years, India-UAE relations, viewers, have seen remarkable growth, with both nations actively engaging in high-level visits and diplomatic exchanges. In fact, UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan is scheduled to visit India next week for the vibrant Gujarat Investors Summit, underscoring the significance of economic cooperation.
Now, these visits have played a pivotal role in elevating the bilateral relationship, with India-UAE trades reaching new heights, currently valued at around $73 billion. The trade volume has grown significantly from the modest $180 million per annum in the 1970s. UAE has emerged as a substantial investor in India, contributing an estimated $20 to $21 billion, with $15.18 billion in foreign direct investment. And this places the UAE as the 7th largest investor in India in terms of FDI. Now, pizza originated in Italy, but in the land of the pizza, no other variety of this food item is being debated as hotly as the pineapple pizza.
Well, yes, Isha, I mean, pineapple pizza is something that we all kind of have a liking for, but some find it extremely awkward. But the margarita con ananas is generating a huge buzz, and since the start of 2024, according to CNN, this unique Hawaiian pizza is the creation of a local pizza chef, Gino Sorbillo, and it features 3 types of cheese, caramelized pineapple toppings, replacing its tomato layer. Now, this margarita pizza costs €7, that is about $7.6 and is aimed at challenging food prejudice. However, the unconventional pizza has sparked controversy among Italians.
Now, since Sorbillo unveiled it on social media, the pizza has triggered a wave of criticism. Sorbillo calls for an uproar, with the discussions on national television and insults flying on social media platforms. Although pineapple on pizza may be downright infuriating for some pizza enthusiasts, its popularity speaks for itself. Despite the backlash, Sorbillo says those who dare to try out his unique combination have expressed favorable opinions, in the process challenging the traditional disdain for pineapple toppings on pizza.
And now let's take you to a zoo in Berlin, where Christmas celebrations are still going on, and the inmates, from elephants to reindeers to bisons, could be seen relishing on Christmas trees.
Well, don't get sold during the Christmas season. That's what this entire spectacle is about. Take a look at this as we slip into a short break.
Well, right now it's time for a short break, but don't go anywhere, because on the other side of World DNA, we will bring you the biggest updates from all around the globe. So stay tuned.
And on the other side, we'll tell you about a rare praise for New Delhi. An article in China's Stare on Global Times has praised India's significant development in recent years. The opinion piece lauded India's economic, social governance and foreign policy under Prime Minister Modi.
And the dark web is witnessing a golden rush, and why, we will tell you all about this after a short break. So don't go anywhere.
On eClub this week, we give you a lowdown of all the big releases of 2024. Find out all about the first award ceremony of the year, the Golden Globes. And meet Indian actor Siddharth Chaturvedi as he talks about his film Khogai Hum Kahan.
Hi guys, this is Siddharth Chaturvedi and you're watching me on WION.
All this and much more with me, Alison Lagrange, on WION at these times.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
As democracy strengthens across the world, elections and their unique cast of leaders, influencers, pollsters, and most of all voters dominate the political space. We bring you a special program that offers insights and reports on the colorful, contentious, and occasionally quirky panorama of elections. Something is always happening somewhere. This is a new special about leaders, their promises, voters, and their demands. A show that tells you all about the rules of the race, cutting through the rhetoric to bring you the reality, cutting through the populism to bring out the policy at play. The show that keeps you updated on the twists and turns, the hits and the misses. Watch Race to Power on WION. World is One.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
From New York, we get you to the sandy shores of Durban, where I'll bring you all the glitz, glam, and happenings from the world of showbiz.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I actually pushed myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 PM IST, 1 PM GMT.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching WION World is One, and this is World DNA.
Well, Isha and I are going to bring you all the top stories in the next 20 minutes, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at the headlines. US says that North Korea provided Russia with ballistic missiles and missile launchers that were used in recent attacks on Ukraine in a major escalation of support for Moscow.
After nearly 3 months of devastating fighting, an Israeli minister has laid out preliminary plans for the post-war administration of Gaza, saying neither Israel nor Hamas will rule the Palestinian territory after hostilities there conclude.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading to West Asia as fears mount that Israel's war in Gaza will spread across the region following deadly blasts in Iran and the killing of Hamas leader in Lebanon.
The death toll from a devastating earthquake in central Japan rose to 92, with the number of missing jumping to 242.
South Africa's ex-Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius will be released from prison on parole almost 11 years after he shot dead his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp in a crime that gripped the world.
And defending champions Barcelona battle back to beat Las Palmas 2-1 in La Liga. Ilkay Gundogan scores a stoppage time penalty to help the Catalan Giants move third on the points table.
It happens against Celta and even Real Sociedad. They scored the win in the last minutes. Not the best game, but in the second half it's solid.
Now we begin with something that we have just gotten reports on. In a rare praise for New Delhi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, an article in China's terror-run Global Times has praised India's significant development in recent years. And the opinion piece lauded India's economic, social governance and foreign policy under Prime Minister Modi.
Now, Global Times is an important state-run Chinese media outlet. The published article has been written by Zhang Diazhong, who is the director of Center for South Asian Studies at the Fudan University in Shanghai. The article mainly focuses on India's achievements over the past 4 years.
And it also acknowledges India's shift in attitude in international relations, especially with China. Now, Zhang also wrote in his article that when discussing trade with China and India, Indian representatives are placing more emphasis on India's export potential.
Now, the article says India has become more strategically confident and more proactive in creating and developing a Bharat narrative. The article also lauded India's foreign policy strategy under Prime Minister Modi, as it highlights New Delhi's multi-alignment approach.
And it praised the stance India took in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, while adding that India is rapidly transforming to become a pole in the multipolar world.
While concluding, the writer said a more stronger and assertive India has become a new geopolitical factor that many countries need to consider.
And now we delve into the tumultuous journey of tech giant Alibaba over the past 12 months, which is marked by a scrapped cloud IPO, a significant drop in market value and a leadership shakeup.
Now, as Alibaba navigates the storm of China's crackdown on internet, tech companies and intensifying competition in the cloud market, we explore the challenges, strategic shifts and the quest for stability. Take a look at our next report.
In the last year, Alibaba, once a beacon in the tech industry, has faced unprecedented challenges. Plans for its cloud computing unit's public listing, set to capture the surge in artificial intelligence, were abruptly scrapped in November 2023. The company's US market value plummeted, signaling a struggle in an industry that had catapulted Alibaba into the global spotlight back in 2014. The winds of change at Alibaba were evident in the leadership shuffle that unfolded over the past year. Eddie Wu assumed the role of CEO, taking charge of both Alibaba and its cloud business. The departure of Daniel Zhang, the former CEO turned acting head of cloud, raised questions about the company's cloud strategy. Amid internal turmoil, Alibaba faced stiff competition in the cloud space, particularly from Huawei. Alibaba's struggles extend beyond leadership and cloud competition. The company's attempt to list its logistics and grocery chain business faced challenges in a tough IPO market. International firms reportedly valued Alibaba's cloud unit as less than anticipated, further complicating the situation. With all these issues clouding the once tech behemoth, it'll be interesting to see how Alibaba weathers the storm and regains its foothold in a rapidly evolving tech landscape. The report, WION World is One.
Now, in an interview, World Bank President Ajay Banga shares his approach to accelerate climate financing, trimming project timelines, and enticing the private sector giants into the development landscape. We take you through the highlights. Listen in.
That there isn't enough money in governments and multilateral banks alone. You do need to get the private sector involved. So I think about the World Bank's role as sweat your own balance sheet, do as best as you can with that, make sure that you create the credibility for the developed world to want to put more capital to work with you. For that, you have to become a better bank. You have to be quicker, faster, more focused on impact, less focused on input.
Now, with a background rooted in finance as the former head of MasterCard, Banga is not just focusing on speed but also on boosting lending capacity and recognizing the need for private sector involvement in the fight against climate change. He has revamped the bank's mission statement to include a strong emphasis on climate issues.
I think people in the global south recognize very well that you cannot fight poverty without fighting climate change. The only difference is, what do you mean by climate change? The developed world tends to speak about climate change as mitigation. The developing world tends to speak about climate change as adaptation, because they see the climate change impact on them in terms of irrigation, rainfall, soil degradation, loss of biodiversity, forestry cover, that kind of thing. Whereas we in the developed world tend to talk about climate change in terms of carbon emissions. That's the real difference.
Now, Ajay Banga is also spearheading a mission to overhaul project financing timelines. Currently averaging 27 months for the first disbursement, Banga aims to slash this period by 1/3 within the next few years.
Sure.
The bank itself said in its recent statement that in many countries you'll need $2.4 trillion per year.
The fact that it takes 27 months from starting a project discussion to the time sometimes, on the average, that the first dollar goes out the door. And one of the tasks that we have set ourselves in a more tangible way is to bring that number down. If I can bring it down by 1/3 over the first couple of years, that would be pretty good. The G20 expert group, which put out a report some time ago, would like to bring that number down even further over the next few years. But let's start with 1/3. That would be a good thing.
And now let's take a look at all the developments and updates coming from the world of tech. As per reports, the Indian state of Gujarat state is in talks with chip makers in Japan, South Korea and the United States for investments in the state. Now, understand that India is aiming for the top spot in the chip market, and semiconductor manufacturing is one of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's key business agendas. However, the initial bids to offer $10 billion incentives to the chip-making industry have floundered, with some proposals that were stalled or cancelled. Now, as of now, the country does not have any semiconductor manufacturing plants, and the news of India's talks with other chip manufacturing nations comes ahead of the vibrant Gujarat Global Summit that is scheduled for the next week. Now, the summit is expected to draw a record number of foreign and domestic investors to the western state in what is seen as Modi's big push to promote investment in the country just months ahead of the Indian national elections, in which he will seek a third term.
According to Australia's Automotive Association, electric vehicle sales in Australia hit an all-time high in 2023. However, sports utility vehicles, commonly known as SUVs, continue to dominate Australia's auto market. In 2023, out of all vehicles sold in Australia, 7.2% of them were electric vehicles. In 2022, the number stood at 3.1%. Transport is one of Australia's largest sources of carbon emissions. The growing adoption of electric vehicles seems to be helping the Australian government's pledge to cut carbon emissions by 43% by 2030. Now, efforts to increase the adoption of electric vehicles have long been plagued by shortages, a limited number of models, and sparse and sometimes faulty charging equipment. Now, last year in November, Australia's Energy Minister Chris Bowen had announced that the government is soon going to release details of its long-awaited fuel efficiency standards, a policy that advocates say will spur manufacturers to send more EVs to Australia and further boost its adoption.
The dark web is witnessing a golden rush right now, and you may ask why. Well, as per reports published by a cybersecurity firm, the number of new or stolen gold check-marked X accounts on the dark web have increased over the past few months, and bad actors are profiting from X gold verification badge by selling compromised accounts for phishing and scams on the dark web. Now understand that X users can buy gold, blue and grey tick marks for a monthly fee, and just through a monthly fee. And according to the reports, some of the gold accounts being sold on the dark web are new, and this might lead to a threat actor buying a new gold account and changing its name to one similar to a brand or an individual. Now, meanwhile, the older X gold accounts, once controlled by individuals or companies, they seem to have been taken over by brute force login attacks. And reports further suggest that a new X gold account can be bought on the dark web for as low as 30 cents, whereas an account that is aged converted into gold can cost somewhere around $2,000, and prices for such accounts can go up depending on the number of followers of an existing and stolen account.
Well, let's get over to some sports news now. Cricket specifically, where India made amends for an embarrassing performance at the Centurion by beating South Africa by 7 wickets on a minefield of Newland's wickets. And the test match ended inside 5 sessions, making this the shortest completed test in history.
Yes, and the hosts began day 2 at 62 for 3 and trailed by 36 runs. And 23 wickets had fallen on the first day, and Jasprit Bumrah needed just 6 balls to get the wicket meter going as he induced an edge from David Perringham. Now, a poor shot from Kyle gave Bumrah his third of the innings as South Africa slid to 85 for 5, and Aiden Markram had survived the carnage at the other end.
And he started to play his shots with partners running out, and an exquisite drive took him to his half-century, the first by a batter in this test. Now, Bumrah got his 4th with a sharp reflex catch off his own bowling as Marco Jansen departed, and a 9th 5 for him actually came in at about next over as Keshav Maharaj could not keep his drive down, and with just 3 wickets left, the lead stood at just 11. Markram switched over to T20 mode, and Prasidh Krishna went for 20 in his first over. Back-to-back boundaries took him to his 7th test century, and this one will surely be top of the pile considering the difficult conditions.
And he finally fell for 106 to Mohammad Siraj, with Indian captain Rohit Sharma expressing his displeasure at his bowlers for leaking too many now. Well, the innings folded just before lunch with Proteus out for 176, and India needed 79 to square the series. And with hanging around a nearly impossible task, Yashasvi Jaiswal went for his shots, and his 23-ball 28 took India to 44 inside 6 overs before falling to a short ball from Berger.
Shubman Gill made 10 before the variable bounce from a Kagiso Rabada delivery proved too much to handle. Virat Kohli and Sharma took India to within a hit of victory before Kohli was given out following a review. India had lost 6 wickets for no runs on Wednesday, and Shreyas Iyer hit a boundary to finish things off with Sharma unbeaten on 17. India chased down the target in 12 overs and with just 107 overs bowled.
Well, they were just 642 balls bowled in Cape Town, making it the shortest completed test ever. And the previous shortest test lasted 656 balls, played between Australia and South Africa in Melbourne way back in 1932. The duration of the match is bound to raise questions about the pitch, and Indian captain Rohit Sharma has called out the ICC for what he sees as double standards at rating pitches.
I mean, we obviously all saw what happened in this test match and how the pitch played and stuff like that. I honestly don't mind playing in pitches like this as long as everyone keeps their mouth shut in India and don't talk too much about Indian pitches, honestly, because you come here to challenge yourself. Yes, it is dangerous, Honestly, like I said, I'm all for pitches like this. We want to challenge playing on pitches like this. We pride ourselves playing on pitches like this. But all I want to say is be neutral.
And in more sports news, France have booked their spot in the semi-finals of the United Cup following a 2-1 win over Norway.
Now, the pair of Caroline Garcia and Edouard Roger Vesselin beat Yukril Ekiri and Kasper Ruud in the mixed doubles tie to set up a last four clash with top seeds Poland.
The 2022 WTA final champion
Garcia returned to partner Roger Vesselin in the deciding mixed doubles. The first set was a tight affair.
Given for sets.
And now for more news from entertainment, my colleague Alison will take you through all the top stories in the world of showbiz. Take a look.
Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange coming to you from Durban, South Africa. First up, let's get you the biggest stories from the world of entertainment.
The story of K-pop group BTS is being told in a new 22-page comic book. Tidal Wave Comics has added the group to its Fame series, which shines a light on musical acts. Since their 2013 debut, BTS have become a worldwide sensation with their upbeat hits and social campaigns aimed at empowering youth. The comic book chronicles the singer's rise to stardom and devotes pages to each of the 7 members. In addition, their transition from pop stars to soldiers will also be highlighted. The book will be released in both print and digital formats in soft and hard covers on January 10th. The 2024 award season has kicked in already in Los Angeles. The Golden Globes rolled out the red carpet, gearing up to celebrate the start of Hollywood's award season. Stand-up comedian and actor Joe Coy will host the show for the first time this year. He was seen rolling out the carpet for the award show. Some of the night's biggest stars in attendance include Robert De Niro, Margot Robbie, and Oprah Winfrey as a presenter. Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moon earned the top prize of the best film at the New York Film Critics Circle Awards. The director said the nature of the Native American was what fascinated him about the story. His film's female lead, Lily Gladstone, who won the Best Actress honor, said she was grateful that people resonated with her character in the film. The movie earned $156 million at the global box office and will be released on digital platforms on January 12th.
2023 was a fantastic year for Padukone, who featured in 2 highly successful films. Both Pathaan and Jawan scripted box office history. As the diva celebrates her birthday today, we look at what the year 2024 has in store for her.
First up, Deepika Padukone will be a part of Fighter. Helmed by Siddharth Anand, the movie features Hrithik Roshan and Anil Kapoor in lead roles. Padukone assists the role of squadron leader Meenal Rathore in the action-packed film. Apart from the Padukone and Roshan pairing on the big screen, Fighter marks a rare Hindi movie in a planned aerial action franchise. The movie is slated to release theatrically on January 25th, 2024. Given that it is releasing on the Republic Day weekend, box office watchers are eagerly waiting to see how it fares at the ticket windows. Another movie that Padukone will be a part of is Kalki 2898 AD, co-starring Amitabh Bachchan, Kamal Hassan, Prabhas and Disha Patni alongside Padukone. The movie has been helmed by Nag Ashwin. The mythological science fiction dystopian film is reportedly the most expensive Indian film ever made. Padukone also has Singham Again in the pipeline this year, wherein she plays the role of Shakti Shetty. The movie will release on August 15, 2024. Directed by Rohit Shetty, the film features Ajay Devgan, Kareena Kapoor Khan, Ranveer Singh, Akshay Kumar, Tiger Shroff, Jackie Shroff and Arjun Kapoor along with Padukone. Interestingly, it is the fifth installment of Shetty's Cop universe and is a sequel to the 2014 film Singham Returns. The Hindi remake of The Intern, which was announced in 2021 with Padukone and led to Rishi Kapoor in key roles, is likely to be shot this year. After Kapoor's demise, Amitabh Bachchan has signed up for the movie. However, there is no further update about the film. Apart from films, one can easily count on Padukone's interesting fashion experiments, charming the social media and head-turning public appearances to keep fans hooked in 2024. Here's wishing Deepika Padukone a very happy birthday. We report, WION World is One.
That's all from me for today. For now, it's back to our New Delhi studio.
With that, it is a wrap on this edition of World DNA.
But don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we bring you all the latest updates from around the globe. Stay tuned and thanks for watching WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
Finance, which provides funds to micro enterprises, which are the excluded segment in the country. I was brought up in a small town like Bhilai, which gave me the small town grounding. The difficult part is to convince yourself that yes, I can move from a salaried job, which I've done all my life, into something that is business on its own, etc. I know that if I put my head to it and I put my efforts behind it, there's a more than 50% chance of succeeding.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, Join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 PM IST, 1 PM GMT.
We are one, you and I. Burning in the sun. Rising in the rain. One in celebration. One in pain. One in a tragedy. One for our rights. One in search of hope. One in our fights. One beyond borders. One beyond our race.
This could be one of
One in the face of adversity. We are one, you and I, and it's our right to know how and why. WION, you are more connected than you know.
Vielleicht nur